Okay, so good day po taong bayan, and for today po papag-usapan natin yung most recent update po sa case ni FPRRD sa ICC kung saan nag-grant po yung urgent motion for request na final nila Attorney Kaufman. Okay, so explain ko po yun siya, magbibigay ako ng clarifications kasi baka po mali yung pagkaintindi ng iilan sa inyo, and may konting maritesan po tayo sa may dulo ng video kung saan magdidiscuss ako ng mga tingin ko pong mga posible mangyari moving forward after po lumabas tong decision ng ICC Court sa pag-grant po sa urgent motion for request nila Attorney Kaufman. So pag nag-enjoy po kayo sa video na to, huwag niyo po sana kalimutan i-like mismo itong video po na ito, and of course mag-subscribe po sa YouTube channel ko. And thank you rin po pala sa mga members natin dyan sa YouTube channel. Nasa 25 na po kayo. Hindi ko po kayo namomonitor talaga, pero last check ko po nasa 25 na kayo. So again, maraming salamat po sa suporta. And ngayon start na po tayo sa discussion. So brief recap po muna tayo bago ko explain tong decision ng ICC para po mas maintindihan nyo talaga kung ano na talaga yung status at mga nangyari or developments po sa case ni FPRRD. So yung pinaka-last po na motion na crucial at importante sa case na FPRRD na final po nila Attorney Kaufman is yung request for interim release ni FPRRD. And then sa request po na yon, nilagay nila Attorney Kaufman na hindi na daw mag-o-object yung prosecutor sa request nila for interim release. Okay, so hindi ko na po masyado explain yung technicalities, pero meron po akong video niyan before, ilalagay ko na lang po sa description box kung gusto niyo mapanood yon. Pero anyway po, after yung final ni Attorney Kaufman yung request for interim release, ang nangyari ngayon, biglang nag-object yung prosecutor dun sa request for interim release. So nagka-dilemma dito sila Attorney Kaufman kasi dun sa request niya for interim release, ang sabi nga niya, 'di ba, hindi daw mag-o-object na yung prosecutor. So pag hindi kasi mag-object yung prosecutor, medyo mataas po yung chance na mag-grant na talaga yung request for interim release. Pero yung dilemma nga nila, after a couple of days from filing that request, bigla pong nag-object yung prosecutor. So dun po ngayon nagka-problema sila Attorney Kaufman. And then after po nun, tingin siguro ni Attorney Kaufman na malapit na maglabas ng decision yung ICC regarding sa request for interim release. Tapos baka po assessment niya is tagilid sila kasi nag-object nga yung prosecutor. So prior to this decision po, na explain ko sa inyo later, nag-submit naman ng urgent request for deferral or postponement, or basically i-delay muna yung paglabas po ng decision ng ICC dun sa request for interim release. Tapos ang nangyari, eto na po yun, nagkaroon ng decision ngayon yung ICC as to that request for deferral, delay, or suspension po of decision with regard the request for interim release ni FPRRD. Okay, so hopefully klaro po yan. So ito pong decision na to, this is a decision in relation dun sa urgent request for deferral nung decision ng ICC with regard sa request for interim release ni FPRRD. Okay, so yung nag-grant po dito is not the actual interim release, but rather this is simply for the deferral lang na mag-decide yung ICC dun sa request for interim release. So hopefully klaro po yun, medyo kabuhol-buhol po, pero sana naintindihan po ninyo. Pero i-rephrase ko pa po further para mas naintindihan ninyo. Si Attorney Kaufman po, tingin niya lalabas na yung decision. So tingin niya siguro tagilid ngayon sila dun sa request for interim release. Nag-submit siya ng motion para i-delay muna yung decision ng ICC. So yung ginrant po dito ng ICC is para lang dun sa request of delay or deferral ng decision as to the request for interim release. Okay, so hopefully klaro na po yan. Dalawang beses ko na po in-explain. So para po sa mga gusto basahin yung actual copy nito or yung full text po ng decision, punta lang po kayo niyan sa ICC website, i-search nyo lang po International Criminal Court, tapos i-search nyo lang po yung pangalan ni FPRRD, lagay nyo lang po dun actually Duterte under case records, tapos lalabas po to siya, yung most recent na legal document from the ICC. Then you can download it from there. Okay, so kung makita po nyo dito sa upper left, International Criminal Court, Pre-Trial Chamber 1, and of course yung same judges po, sila Presiding Judge Motok, sila Alapini Gansu, and si Flores Liera. And this is of course the situation in the Republic of the Philippines in the case of the prosecutor versus Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Okay, and then public siya, meaning this is a document that is open to the public, and like what I've already stated, this is about the decision on the urgent defense request to suspend adjudication on the defense request for interim release. Okay, so of course dito po as usual, like what we have already seen in mga past decisions ng ICC, meron po sila laging procedural history niyan. So basically, this is a recap or a summary of the events that transpired until the time na nilabas nila tong decision na to. So kung makita po nyo, June 12, filed an urgent request for interim release. And then June 23 and 25, the prosecution and the Office of Public Counsel opposed the interim release request. And then number 3, number 4, number 5, pwede nyo na lang po basahin to kasi this is just basically a summary lang naman kung ano na yung mga events that transpired in the case of FPRRD hanggang umabot po sa stage na to, itong decision po na to. So una po natin kailangan i-clarify dito or explain ko po sa inyo is itong nasa paragraph number 7. Kasi nakalagay po dito, at the outset, the Chamber clarifies that the second issue presented by the defense is a matter unrelated to the main purpose of the request and it is the object of separate litigation. Accordingly, the Chamber shall not entertain the second issue raised in the defense request. So ang point po nito is yung second issue po na ni-raise ni Attorney Kaufman dun sa request niya for deferral or delay in the adjudication or sa decision nga sa interim release request is hindi daw po purkit na hindi nila yun sinagot dito sa decision na to is ibig sabihin meron na silang decision dun as to that issue. Kasi yung explanation po nila, it is the object of separate litigation. In short, kailangan pa daw talaga pag-usapan din yung second issue na yun na ni-raise ni Attorney Kaufman. Okay, so again, ang purpose po nitong number 7 is hindi po ibig sabihin na hindi nila tinouch on or inexplain dito is nagkaroon na ng decision yung ICC as to that second issue. Ang sabi lang po ng ICC dito, hindi nila yun gagalawin kasi kailangan pa ng further proceedings or further litigation as to that second issue po. And para po mas klaro tayo, vinisit ko po mismo yung actual pleading na final ni Attorney Kaufman para po sana explain ko sa inyo yung second issue. Yung problem lang po, pag check ko nito, ang nakalagay dito, yung second issue natin is, in the interest of justice, furthermore, the pre-trial chamber is requested either to order or failing that, strenuously to encourage the performance of redacted as a matter of extreme urgency. So ito po yung dilemma natin kasi redacted yung isang issue na nire-raise ni Attorney Kaufman to the public. In short, this is a confidential matter pa. So hindi ko alam ngayon kung ano ba tong actual second issue na ni-raise po ni Attorney Kaufman. Pero anyway, yung sagot po ng ICC dito is that this is still subject daw for further litigation, for further proceedings, and yung pag hindi nga nila pag-explain or pag-touch on dun sa decision na pinakita ko kanina is wala po yung bearing as to the actual eventual resolution of this second issue po. Okay, so hopefully klaro din po yan. So ang sabi po ng ICC dito, as to the first issue, the Chamber notes that suspending the adjudication of request is not a remedy per se and it is not provided in the court's legal framework. In principle, the Chamber adjudicates requests submitted to it based on the supporting information and materials that are made available by the submitter at the time of the request, together with any relevant further submissions provided in accordance with the procedures set forth in the court's legal framework. For a proper and efficient unfolding of judicial proceedings, it is therefore the defense's responsibility to ensure that all relevant information and materials in support of its requests are put before the Chamber at the time of submission, particularly when adjudication is sought on an urgent basis. Okay? So sa Tagalog po, ang ibig sabihin nito, hindi daw siya remedy talaga yung pag-request ng pag-delay nga ng adjudication or paglabas ng decision kasi it is the duty daw of a party litigant in the ICC na when you make a request, dapat po isubmit mo na lahat ng mga required documents mo, evidence in relation to that request, lalo na daw po pag urgent na request yung ginawa ninyo. So kung makita nyo dito, in-emphasize talaga yun ng ICC. It is the defense's responsibility to ensure that all relevant information and materials in support, diba? Particularly when adjudication is sought on an urgent basis. So dyan po, based on that explanation ng ICC dyan sa paragraph 8, mukha pong magkaka-problema, diba? Sila Attorney Kaufman at si FPRRD. Pero in fairness po to the ICC, despite their explanation dito sa paragraph 8, sa paragraph 9, makikita po ninyo, pinayagan pa rin nila yung request for deferral or delay nga sa paglabas ng decision sa interim release. So ito po sabi ng ICC, the majority further notes, however, that interim release proceedings pursuant to Article 60, paragraph 2 of the Rome Statute may exclusively be triggered by the person subject to a warrant of arrest who perseveres, who preserves the right to submit a request for interim release or not at any point in time pending trial. Accordingly, and to ensure that a decision on the interim release request is appropriately informed, the majority considers it appropriate in the circumstances to defer the issuance of its decision on the interim release request until further action is undertaken by the defense on the matter or until when the chamber will deem it appropriate. So yun nga po, in fairness sa ICC, despite dito sa explanation nila, ay pinagbigyan pa rin po nila sila Atty. Kaufman at si FPRRD. Tapos yung binanggit dito, the majority further notes, kung take note po, majority yung ginagamit nilang term. In short, dalawa po out of the 3 judges yung nag-vote in favor nito. Kasi kung lahat po sila nag-vote, I'm assuming hindi po siguro majority yung term na gagamitin nila. Okay, so anyway, kung makita po ninyo, majority of the judges dun sa 3 judges ay pumabor dun sa urgent motion for request of deferral nila Atty. Kaufman. Yung sinabi po ng ICC dito kung bakit nila ginrant yun is para daw po ito to ensure that a decision on the interim release request, para daw po maging sigurado na ang decision sa interim release request is appropriately informed, meaning dapat po yung decision has sufficient basis or sufficient documentation or evidence when they came up or paglabas po nila ng decision nila, 'di ba? And because of the circumstances, sa tingin po ng majority, tama lang na i-defer muna yung issuance of its decision on the interim release request until further action is undertaken by the defense on the matter. Kasi sabi po ni Atty. Kaufman dun sa urgent request nila for deferral is meron daw silang mga evidentiary and document late nilang nakuha kaya hindi nila na-submit sa ICC in relation dito sa interim release request. And because of those delays sa pag-receive nila Atty. Kaufman, kinonsider ngayon ng ICC na proper lang under the circumstances na i-defer muna nila yung pag-decide sa interim release request despite nga po supposedly na hindi siya usual or regular remedy, di ba, na mag-request ka for deferral, lalo na nga daw po pag urgent request for interim release yung ginawa. Pero despite nga po all those, dito makikita natin na yung ICC is naman po, malambot ang puso pag clearly explained naman po ng mga party litigants yung situation nila. So yan po yun. In summary, nagkaroon ng mga delays pag-receive sila Atty. Kaufman. So sabi ng ICC, because of those delays, because of those circumstances, it is proper lang muna to defer yung decision nila as to the request for interim release. Okay, so hopefully klaro po yan. At ito po, it's the time for the Maritesan portion. So sa tingin ko po, kaya yung nag-request sila Atty. Kaufman ng urgent request for delay or deferral ng adjudication is because gusto niya siguro klaruhin muna sa prosecution talaga yung interim release request nila. 'Di ba? Kasi initially ang sabi ni Atty. Kaufman, nag-usap daw yung siya at yung prosecutor, tapos sabi daw ng prosecutor is hindi mag-object, pero yun nga biglang nag-object at dahil po doon most likely nga po baka tagilid sila ngayon dun sa interim release request. Kaya gusto muna kausapin ni Atty. Kaufman itong prosecutor, and as per Rappler noong July 17, 2025, there was a meeting with ICC prosecutor about Duterte, and then si Kaufman daw yung nagsabi niyan sa kanila. So kung nagkasundo sila sa meeting na to, I'm assuming baka later on biglang i-withdraw nung prosecutor yung objection nila. So pag na-withdraw po yung objection ng prosecutor to the interim release request, ang resulta po niyan, mas tataas po ngayon yung chance na mag-grant nga talaga yung interim release request ni FPRRD. Okay, but again, this is just Maritesan portion pa lang po kasi wala pa naman talaga tayong established facts or matters as to that. Pero kung magkatotoo talaga itong mga sinasabi ko sa inyo ngayon, mas mataas po yung tsansa na mag-grant yung interim release request ni FPRRD. Okay, so hopefully klaro po yan. And if you like more legal videos, may isasuggest po yan sa YouTube algorithm dito sa inyo. So panoorin nyo na lang po. And if you want to be notified kung may bago po tayong upload, huwag nyo po sana kalimutan mag-subscribe sa YouTube channel ko. Until next time, see you all po. Bye-bye!